Hi guys, Loila Luvis,
And George Luvis.
and it is 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. We are talking about all things having to do with marriage and family. So today I wanted to talk about, George and I have been married for 21 years. Don't look at me like that. I can't remember our anniversary. And
She also can't remember the years. It just flies by for her. We have a son that's about to be 24, right? No.
31.
No, I'm not talking, wait. I'm talking about John.
22.
We don't know. We got married in 1996. Right? We're terrible. Neither one of us can remember anything right now.
I can't even remember what we're talking about
Well,
now.
the whole turning the clock forward thing messed us up, so that's our excuse.
That's it.
We
Okay.
lost our minds when we turned the clock forward.
Married 22 years, talking about, 22 years, 23 years, okay.
It'll be 24 in June.
We have 4 children, one from a first marriage. He's 31. George and I got married. I don't know. We got married.
We got married one day.
We have kids. We have 3 kids.
We think.
22.
Could be 6 of them.
20, 18. That's all that matters. We're still married.
This is so rehearsed, you could tell. Right?
And over the course of these 20-something years of marriage, we have looked back over some things that have gone on and realized that when crisis hits, when some really hard times have come, it has given us crystal clarity as to what's important and what's not. And we were talking about 9/11. We were trying to decide whether you guys would remember 9/11. You know, was that too long ago? Or do you remember 9/11? What were you doing when 9/11 happened? We remember, obviously, my husband was at work in Montclair, and I was homeschooling the kids. And if you were old enough to remember 9/11, you know exactly where you were when it happened. And, a couple things were like no-brainers to us in that moment when we realized that we were being attacked. And George wanted to share a couple things that really struck him in the midst of crisis.
Okay. So our oldest son was at school. We weren't homeschooling him yet. And I got to work, and what was odd is, a little backstory if it's okay. My brother had an office in the same building where my office was. And when I got to my office, everybody from his company was in my office with the TV on. I'm like, well, what's going on? And they said, you don't know? And I didn't. I was not listening to the radio on the drive up. And I walked in just in time to see the plane hit the second tower. And, they had CNN on and they were watching the whole thing. And immediately I thought, I have to get my son and I have to get home to my wife, because at that point with the second plane, we knew it was an attack. It wasn't an accident. And I didn't want Loila to be alone with a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And I didn't want Damon at school away from everybody. So I called the school, and of course they said, yeah, come over, get him. I went over, got him, came right home. And it was just so important for us to be together, and with the little ones, we didn't want to frighten them. You have to be very careful what you say as a grown-up when you've got a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old, because you don't want to terrify little kids. But at the same time, we never experienced that.
Yeah, it was like watching a movie. We put on the TV and we saw this thing unfolding, and it was surreal. And of course, the kids didn't know what was going on. But the thing, it never became, it was so crystal clear that we just needed to be together.
Yeah.
The family just needed to be together. And you forget that. Like, there's been no major attacks since that time. And what?
I said, thank God.
Yeah. It can be so easy to forget what's really important and to get, bored or feel like, irritated with a spouse or with the children, or get upset over the grades, of the kids in school, or who's trying and who's not, and, who's not taking out the garbage, like, all the day-to-day stuff of life. But it is so important for all of us to keep in mind that home is should be the place where when life kicks your feet out from under you want to be home. Yeah. You want your family. You want to be able to connect with your spouse and with your children and be in your home. And that has got to be number one. Like, I know we're all trying to make money and get ahead in our careers and reach our goals and, achieve our mission in life. And yeah, it's all good, but not if it's sacrificing or jeopardizing your home and your family. That's got to be number one.
Yeah, I think you especially did a great job at making the home a safe haven for the children. They knew they were safe here. They wanted to be here. And we saw that as they grew up, because they wanted their friends to come here and more than they wanted to be out. So
yeah. And I remember that my teens having a party in the backyard, and the backyard was packed. I mean, there had to be 20 teenagers in the backyard. And I stood there watching, like, some of the kids were like, starting to trash the place a little bit. And I could hear my 12-year-old and my 14-year-old at that time saying, "Hey, my mom's going to have to clean that up. Pick it up." And I was like, oh my gosh, they're having a party, and yet they're still thinking about us. Yeah. They're still honoring us. They're still, we're looking out for each other. It's so beautiful. Like, who does that? I didn't. As a teenager, when I went to a party, it was bad. It was just really, really bad. We didn't think twice about the parents who were hosting the party or anything. Really shameful, but I didn't grow up with such honoring ways, and our kids did. And I really think it's because we really made sure that home was the nest.
Yeah.
The place where when you walk through the door, this is where you rest. This is where it's peaceful. This is where it's calm and it's safe, and a place to feel like you could be yourself. We didn't master it. We haven't mastered anything. Right? I don't want to give that impression.
She's right.
But, there was another thing I remembered on this topic of crisis. I was a single parent with a 2-year-old. I was living with a guy who was a politician. No names, no details, but a crime was committed. And I really thought, I remember being in my mom's kitchen, looking out the back window at her gorgeous, beautiful, green, lush backyard, and thinking, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to lose my freedom. I'm going to lose the ability to go and sit outside and just enjoy the backyard. And mind you, I was like living the fast track, going places, doing things. The world was my oyster. Like, I was going to make everything happen. I was not your stay at home, just enjoy your backyard kind of person, until this crisis happened where I realized how much I was taking for granted. I was taking for granted everything that was like right there in front of me. Like, I promised myself that day, I will never take for granted the fact that I can sit outside and enjoy my backyard. I'll never take it for granted again. And I didn't. I came so close to losing my child, losing my freedom. Like, no, never going to happen. Now, most people never face that kind of a crisis where you're about to go to jail. I had a crazy, crazy life. I have a lot of stories, but the bottom line is, you don't, like, should you really have to have those kind of things nearly happen to you before you realize just how precious and how valuable and how good it is just to be able to sit in your backyard and enjoy the fact that there's somebody was willing to commit their life to you. Somebody was willing to say, I'll spend the rest of my life loving you. I ain't easy to love. Nobody is. I mean, really, you spend enough time with anybody and they're not easy to love. But you get married and you make a commitment to be the one who's going to love that person and be a witness to their life's journey, right? So when I married you, I committed that I'm going to witness your life's journey. I'm going to be there and witness it. And somebody has to love you. And there were times when I didn't want to love them.
Here we go.
I'm just keeping it real.
No, I know.
I didn't want to love them. But I made a commitment that somebody needs to love this boy. He is the son, right? He is the son. He's got a mother, right? Just like I'm a mother and I have children. I want somebody to commit to love my children, no matter what. You know, unless there's like bodily damage going on, you commit to love them, even when it's hard. And so that's how, like, after all my trauma and all the scares with going to jail and 9/11 and school shootings and, like, you name it, I committed to love this person and witness his journey and give my children, like, the kind of upbringing that I don't judge you. I'm here no matter what you do. I mess up, you mess up. It's a long journey. We got to be there for each other in it.
Yeah.
I've been doing all the talking.
No, you have a lot to say.
I don't want to talk anymore. You say something.
Well, I think it's important what you said, the commitment to love each other and to witness the other person's life and to encourage the other person's life. I think something that we do well for each other now is encouraging each other's best and encouraging each other's dreams, but saying no when we need to. You know, I mean, even though we're adults and you go, well, we have freedom, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just a couple days ago, I was thinking about doing something and I sat down with Loyola because it was a financial decision. And I asked, you know, how do you feel about this? And her gut was like, don't do it yet. And I wasn't happy that she said, don't do it yet. And I could have done it. It's my money, right? But I respect her enough to go, why doesn't she want me to do this yet? And then I dwelled on it. And I was like, you know what? She's right. We don't need to spend this money right now. We have other commitments and other priorities. And 6 months down the road, if I still want to do this, it may be a better time. So, you know, you get that. And when you know somebody has your back, when you know that they love you and they want what's best for you, you can accept that. When you think, she's just mean, she just doesn't want me to have any fun, that's a problem. But when you trust each other and love each other and realize, you know what? She wants what's best for us, for all of us. And that, no matter what's going on in your home, be that person.
Yeah.
Be that person that always wants what's best for everybody in your home, no matter what your position is. I don't care if you're the 7-year-old son or you're the dad, you know, or the mom or whatever. Just be that person that wants the best for everybody else in the house, because it becomes contagious.
Yeah.
And you all will start to live that way.
Yeah. I think that when I'm telling you, it's just got to be the case. When I commit to love my family, I'm just going to love my family, even when they're hard to love. I'm just going to love them anyway. Like, I got to check on myself. If I'm not doing it, if I'm not doing that, I gotta get on me for that, not them, because I gotta be the example. I can't expect anything from anybody else if I'm not going to be the example.
Well, they always say, you know, you can change yourself. And doing that, even if it's just how you choose to take something, that it's a positive step, and the positive, just build on the positive steps. One thing we didn't mention, another crisis, which I think we should probably address, in Hurricane Irene, we lost our house for 4 months. We were trapped in this house for 24 hours, waiting for the police to come in a boat to rescue us and get us out, because the water was so deep around our house that Loyola and my daughter definitely would have been underwater if we would have tried to walk through and walk out. That's how deep the water was. So we waited for the police.
We went out by boat, and oh my gosh, I thought, good point. I'm really glad you brought that up, because my house, like, the home, like, that's a big deal. That's a big sense of security, I think, maybe particularly for a woman, maybe for a man too, generally speaking, for everybody. And when our house went underwater and I knew that it could happen again, I just had to change my whole perspective on where I'm placing my security.
Yeah.
I had put my security in the home, and not smart. And what we discovered in that 5 months while we were traveling homeless from place to place, wherever somebody would take us in, is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we got so close as a family.
Yeah.
And we have such good memories of that time. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It's crazy to think that what could have been one of the lowest points of our lives together, and really could have hurt our marriage, hurt our children, became one of the greatest. And, I have to say, homeschooling, again, helped a lot, because we could take the kids. If we had an opportunity to stay at somebody's house for a week or a month or 2, whatever, it didn't matter if we weren't close to the school, because we just packed up the books and the computer and took everything with us, and wherever we were able to continue. But it was amazing, because we literally left the house with a duffel bag each.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost almost everything.
We lost virtually everything.
The way the house flooded, there was no time to get things to dry ground.
Yeah. And so many people came to our rescue. But anyway, we could talk and talk. I mean, if we sit here long enough, we could probably talk about 10 more crises that happened to us. But the point is, I want to encourage you, because with all of the crises, we could have let it tear us apart. Crises, we could have let them tear us apart. But what we did was draw closer in the process and discover that we didn't need all the stuff that we thought we needed.
Right.
When they say simple is best, it is so true. Family is a journey. You commit to being a witness to the lives within your family, and no judgment, no condemnation. Oh, not easy to do, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah. And if you have questions, if you're dealing with stuff, reach out. We want to help. I mean, we're doing this because we feel like we've experienced enough that we have the ability to help. Now, Loyola is certified and she's a professional. What do I know? But we want to help. So please, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, reach out to us and let us, share your journey.
Yeah. And if we don't have some ideas for you, we know lots of people who do.
That's true.
Have a great week.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.